The White House entrance hall and cross hall, big rooms with lots of marble and light coming in from all kinds of directions. Hello, this is Kurt Waldner. I've saved these two rooms for the very last because they represent a certain technical challenge for me, mostly the big, huge marble floor and the ceilings and so on. So let's get to it. Believe it or not, I've been staring at this little humble thumbnail idea of what I want the pose to be for 5 years now. So I've girded myself for battle. You start out by gridding the thing off and getting a floor plan going, and then trying to draw up a cage for the perspective. In starting something like this, I'm always looking for that one thing that can guide the proportions of everything else. And in this case, it's the tiles on the marble floor. They're about 16 columns wide and about 10 rows deep. And if I get this right, then I can base everything else off of it. So the floor is looking pretty good. A grid like this is very difficult to draw by hand, which is why a lot of people sort of avoid it. But I have some wiggle room in this process, so I can improve the proportions of the grid as I go along. Trying to figure out the entablature has been a real mind-numbing experience. It adds so much to the character of the room, but it's very regularized and everything has to fit together, and I spend a lot of time trying to make sure that it's correct. I like to do things that are really complicated and sort of separate from the walls on separate pieces of paper so that I can focus on them entirely and mortise cut them in, and this is what I did with the chandeliers in the entrance hall and in the cross hall. Can't believe how low that chandelier in the entrance hall hangs. I know a lot of people don't like it, but maybe it's just too close to the ground for comfort. Not surprisingly, when I get to spend so much time with a room like this, all the details and all of its ins and outs, I spend a lot of time thinking about how am I going to capture the light that's coming in the window and bouncing off the reflective floor, and what am I going to do with these columns and all that kind of stuff. And it gives me a lot of time to really think about how I'm going to apply color and shading and so on all these forms. In the entrance hall, it's a two-phase sort of operation. I try and ink everything in the walls up to the entablature so that when I do the entablature afterwards, it will all come out consistently. It says here, I do the same thing for the cross hall. Because I've torn the wall out, in order to show the staircase, I have to draw its complex banister. I think that this is one of the masterpieces of Winslow. I just love this thing. It's so, I don't know, Hollywood Regency maybe? Anyway, I just love doing it. I get the rest of the cross hall walls in and the floor and save the entablature for last. So inking the entablature in the entrance hall begins with the projection over the stairs, primarily because there's a lot that needs to get into that space, and it's in the foreground, so I ink from the front to the back, so things that are behind get inked later. Then when I'm inking the tiles in the floor, I get a chance to visually correct imperfections in the grid pattern that I might see. It's just a thing that I do by eye. It doesn't really matter all that much because the grid pattern in the inking isn't really all that visible in the finished product. You'll see in the next chapter what I mean. Something that happens in this process is when it came time to doing the fearsomely complicated entablature in the cross hull, I got so wrapped up in it that I forgot to shoot any footage of my drawing it. So it just magically appears, if only. Anyway, if you were enjoying these videos, please subscribe to the channel if you would. Until next time, thank you for your attention. Bye-bye.